Welcome back to Full Court Femmes Red Storm Report. No narratives, no excuses, just what actually happened and what better happened next.
Because if you're a St. John's fan like we are, January is about stacking wins or answering uncomfortable questions.
And Tuesday night at Butler, that was an answer.
Final from Hinkle, St. John's 84, Butler 70. Tied at halftime, and the Red Storm took control.
Let's be clear, this wasn't Butler melting down. This was St. John's turning pressure into punishment.
21 Butler turnovers, 27 St. John's points off those turnovers. That's not random. That's identity basketball.
And after Providence, we said forcing turnovers wasn't enough. Against Butler, they finished. Layups, free throws, advantage basketball, showing up as 27 points versus Butler's 5.
And the defensive discipline mattered, Erin. St. John's recorded 12 steals and 4 blocks.
That's effort. That's buy-in. That's 5 guys understanding what is at stake and executing on plan. And those 5 guys finally played as a unit.
Second half numbers tell the story. 42-28. Butler shot under 40% after halftime and never found a rhythm.
Balanced scoring, 5 in double figures. Zuby Ejiofor led with 18 again, but this wasn't a one guy saves you game. This was a team win, and we are so happy to see it. You know, Caroline Hopkins finally showed up and contributed 17 points to this win. We're all praying and hoping he found his spark and now brings it to every game going forward.
Shots were hitting and defense was working. Bettina worked a new lineup, showing up with moments where we saw Ejiofor, Prey, and Hopkins on the court working together at the same time.
You know, it is time to stop chasing a point guard and look to play the strengths of what St. John's currently has. If these big men can work together and the wings and guards can defend and perimeter shoot, this just may be a winning combination going forward.
Now, here's the honesty piece, Erin. This one happened without Darling. Bettina was sending a message. Show up like we thought you could, or I will find somebody who will. I'm here for it, Erin.
You've questioned Darling before, Caroline, so I get it. And truthfully, I have to agree. The sad news of the night is that St. John's lost the rebounding battle. That didn't cost them on Tuesday, but it will eventually cost them if this isn't fixed and quickly.
This was a grown-up road win. Not perfect, but intentional.
All right, let's grade the board. You know what board I'm talking about, the bold predictions for the night. Let's start with number 1. We said they would have 20-plus points off turnovers.
Hit. We got this one, Erin. 27. That's execution. 19 of those points came after the half when the Red Storm locked in. Bold prediction number 2. Butler held to 70 or fewer.
Whoop, whoop. Exactly 70. That's a hit. And most of that damage came in the second half. Tied at the half, the Johnnies broke free after the halftime chat in the locker room and held the Bulldogs to 28 points in the second half. Let's look at bold prediction number 3. We said they have to win the rebounding battle.
Busted. This is still unresolved, Erin. While St. John's lost the overall rebound battle, they did win offensive rebounds, but only marginally. Time for Patino to run a rebound clinic for his guys. This could be the single stat difference between a win or a loss against more competitive teams. Bold prediction number 4. Butler under 8 fast break points.
That's a bust as well. St. John's led in this category at 18 fast break points, but could not contain the run by Butler, who finished with 13. All right, on to the last one. Bold prediction number 5. We said it would be a one-position game late, and St. John's closes.
Busted. But Erin, to be honest, I'm happy about this one. St. John's dominated with 44 points in the paint versus Butler's 24. Offense and defense working as expected. This is exactly what we want to see going forward.
All right, so if you're paying attention, as I'm sure some of you are, we hit 2 and busted 3. Not great, but we'll take the W for the Johnnies anytime. And we'll take the W for Annie, who called the score at 82-70. Actual score, 84-70.
That's a Red Storm Report win, Erin. And it's a quad 1 win. Just what the Johnnies needed after Providence.
St. John's is 3-1 in Big East play. We know that's not dominance right now, but it is positioning.
More importantly, Erin, they're learning how to win on the road. And that's the tax you pay in this league.
Now we take off for Omaha. Different challenge, Different discipline required by the Johnnies.
Creighton doesn't beat itself. They space you out, they make you guard the full possession, and they punish mental lapses, especially late in the game.
They're also 4-1 in league play, sitting second behind UConn, and they're comfortable at home. This is a team that knows exactly who it is and doesn't flinch when games tighten.
And Wednesday night showed us why. That 76-72 win wasn't flashy, it was controlled. Creighton won the possession game, took care of the ball, and executed in the final 4 minutes.
They didn't overwhelm Villanova with volume. They overwhelmed them with patience. Creighton spaced the floor, ran offense deep into the shot clock, and consistently got quality looks, especially after defensive stops.
That matters because it wasn't a one-off. They beat Butler by 4. They lost to Seton Hall by 2. Every Big East game they play lives in the margins. And against Villanova, Creighton proved they're comfortable living there.
And that's the warning sign for St. John's. This Creighton team doesn't have a singular superstar from years past, but they have two players who quietly control how the game flows.
If you're talking Creighton offense this season, you start with Josh Dix. He's averaging around 12 points and 3 assists per game, and he's doing it consistently while playing heavy minutes.
He's not just scoring, he's actually facilitating. Creighton runs through him when they want to slow the pace, orchestrates possession basketball, or gets someone downhill. When Dix is comfortable, when he's receiving screens at the top of the key and finding shooters off pick and roll, Creighton's spacing becomes tough to clamp.
So don't just fear his buckets, fear his touches. If St. John's lets Dix get into a comfortable rhythm distributing the ball, the rest of Creighton's offense opens up.
And then there's Jason Green, a forward who brings strength and subtle creation to the table. He's putting up around 10 points and 5 rebounds per game, and that matters on both ends. Against the Wildcats, he had 7 rebounds.
Green doesn't dominate headlines, but he earns minutes. Post physicality, second chance boards, tough mid-range finishes. He's the kind of glue guy that keeps offensive possessions alive and forces opposing bigs to stay honest.
And you know, Caroline, because he's a forward with scoring chops, Creighton doesn't have to go small to score. He stretches defenses in a way that complicate help rotations and clogs passing lanes.
All right, here's the practical application. Stop Dix early. If defense disrupts tempo, the spacing suddenly isn't clean, and that's the chance to tilt the defense back into transition. Contain Green on the glass. He won't dunk on you, but he will extend possessions and demand attention in the paint. If he gets multiple chances, he'll take them.
You know, this Creighton group isn't one man or die, but these two control the flow of possessions more than any other Blue Jay. Outcompete them, and you blunt the Creighton identity. But let's not forget the Providence lesson. Please, dear Lord, let us not forget that Providence lesson, because if you contain the key players, someone will come off the bench and win the game. Austin Swartz was the key player against Nova, delivering 20 points on Wednesday night.
There's no mystery here, Erin. St. John's doesn't need a new identity to win in Omaha. They need to execute their existing one without leaks.
So let's take a closer look at the keys for this game. Number 1, finish the possession. Rebound like it's non-negotiable.
This is the loudest key because Butler exposed it.
You cannot give Creighton extra chances. One shot has to be one possession. No tap outs, no watching the ball. Creighton led Villanova with 39 rebounds, of which 13 were offensive rebounds.
If St. John's doesn't win or break even on the glass, Creighton controls the tempo by default. That's how Omaha games slip away.
So key number 2 is to guard without fouling. We saw a lot of fouls in that Butler game, and a lot of them early. So we can't gift Creighton points.
This game cannot turn into a free throw parade.
Because Creighton is patient. They want you reaching. They want you on closeouts, and that's how they live at the line.
Against Butler, St. John's showed they can defend, but need more discipline. Against Creighton, discipline has to be in play for the full 40 minutes.
I feel like I'm going to be Patino here when I say, men, hands high, feet active, chest first. Make them score over you.
Because once this becomes a whistle game, Erin, in Omaha, you're playing uphill. In the bonus, in the noise, and in the math. Creighton is shooting 74.1% from the line.
Those are free points, Caroline, and we simply can't give them away right now. The Johnnies will need to guard the ball, contest without contact, and keep Creighton off the stripe.
All right, key number 3, value the ball. Live ball turnovers are death here.
Pressure travels, but mistakes Mistakes travel faster.
Live ball turnovers in Omaha turn into momentum runs, crowd surges, and 4-point swings before you can think.
St. John's can force turnovers, and we've seen them do it, but they cannot afford careless ones. This game demands patience without passivity.
All right, key number 4, win the middle 8 minutes.
End of first half, start a second. That's where Creighton separates teams at home. They were losing at the half against Villanova and came out of the locker room with enough fire to drive a 13-2 run. This was the difference in that game. Villanova simply became complacent.
St. John's has to close halves and open halves with purpose. Defensive stops, strong shot selection, 0 emotional lapses.
And if you win in that stretch, you give yourself a chance in the final 4 minutes, and that's all you can ask for on the road in this league. Bottom line, this is not a talent contest.
It's a discipline test.
Rebound, defend without fouling, and take care of that ball.
Do that, and St. John's walks into the final minutes with a real shot.
Okay, deep breath, because here we go. These are no longer keys, and they're simply not vibes. These are the bold predictions for the Creighton game. And Creighton's win over Villanova told us exactly what kind of game they want this to be. Bold prediction number 1, St. John's, not John's, forces 16-plus turnovers and scores 18-plus points off them. Creighton values the ball. We just saw it against Villanova. But St. John's pressure is disruptive when it's connected.
This is a bet on activity and punishment. Hands in the passing lane, guards swarming, and turning disruption into points, not just chaos.
If St. John's converts turnovers into runouts, they take Creighton out of the slow, controlled game that beat Villanova.
Bold prediction number 2, Creighton attempts fewer than 18 free throws. This is a discipline test, Erin, especially after watching Creighton stay poised late against Villanova.
It means guard without fouling, no reaching, no bailout whistles when possessions get long.
If Creighton lives at the line, St. John loses the math. If they don't, advantage Red Storm.
So bold prediction number 3, St. John's wins the rebounding battle. Yes, we're doubling down on this one.
Because Butler showed us the warning and Villanova showed us how dangerous extra possessions are against this team.
This is effort, positioning, and finishing possessions. No second chances, no excuses.
Bold prediction number 4, Creighton guards shoot under 40% from the field. This is about disrupting the entire backcourt rhythm we saw against Villanova.
Creighton's guards were patient, selective, and timely on Wednesday. Not explosive, but efficient when it mattered.
St. John's has to make every couch uncomfortable, contest without fouling, force late clock decisions instead of clean looks.
And if the guards are inefficient as a group, Creighton's spacing shrinks, and suddenly, the offense that closed Villanova gets tight and set instead of smooth. Our last bold prediction, prediction number 5, the game is within 1 possession inside the final 2 minutes.
No separation, no runaway.
This is a grinder, exactly the type of game Creighton just proved they can win.
And that's the test for St. John's. If this game lives in the margins late, can they match that execution and steal one on the road?
So we've laid out the film, we've given you the keys, and we've provided the bold board.
We've talked pressure, discipline, and what it actually takes to win in Omaha.
Now it's time to stop analyzing and put a number on it.
No spreadsheets, no walkbacks.
This is where conviction lives, Caroline.
It's Annie calls the score.
And after her nearly perfect prediction against Butler, Annie believes Creighton will take an early lead, but St. John's will put pressure on later in the game for the win.
Final score? Final score, Erin. St. John's 73, Creighton 72.
It will undoubtedly be a nail-biter, just like me trying to get out the word win. After Omaha, St. John's comes home to the Garden for Marquette.
And yes, let's address it. Marquette is 1-4 in the Big East right now, with a recent win over Xavier.
But if you think that makes them harmless, you haven't watched this league long enough.
Because in the Big East, teams don't stay down forever.
And January always remembers who got complacent. All right, that's it for this episode of Full Court Femmes Red Storm Report.
We'll be back with our take on the game and a preview of the Marquette game. No spin, just truth. No hype, just hoops.